GMGP, good morning, good people. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all decided to wake up with us. You're sick. You're sick in the head. There's a lot of fantasy football shows out there, but I promise y'all, they not like us. Brock Bowers, you looked a little quicker than fast. What does that even mean? Redraft, dynasty, best ball, high stakes, we got you covered.
And that's MVS and Justin Watson.
With some of the dopest tools designed to help you cancel out the noise and dominate your leagues.
If there's a white wide receiver named Antoine, sign me up.
Maybe it's cultural. I don't know. In season or off season, rain, sleet, hail, and snow,
comma, semicolon, period, next sentence.
to bring you the most actionable and entertaining content on YouTube. You don't go buy the dip on the Titanic.
Quarterback that you love, D-Bro. One of the best values in fantasy football.
Prop bets with my man JRich.
Is that
Yes! Let's go!
So wipe the crust out of your eye, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake y'all asses up with Ray
And Jay.
in the morning.
My God.
How good is
Dude.
he? How good is it? It's GMGP. It is Monday, May 19th, 2025. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with myself and my brother from another mother. Y'all know who he is. The double/triple down king himself, Jordan Richards. You can find him at your boy JRich. This is Wake Up with Ray and Jay every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on YouTube. We appreciate each and every eye, each and every ear in the building. If you cannot catch us live, make sure you are subscribed to the Wake Up with Ray and Jay podcast feed. You get it anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify. Make sure you sub to the channel and make sure you check out all the dope content over on DD Fantasy Football, DDFFB on YouTube. The guys are pumping out incredible fantasy football content damn near every single day. And if you happen to miss the All Gas Trade Show with Ty DeClaire, he's talking about it now. What? Rookie drafts are almost in the books. We've got a bunch of veteran movement. NFL season is underway. So make sure you check out All Gas Trade Show and some more trade stuff coming soon over on DDFFB. And then we had a mailbag, man. Brandon and Shane absolutely crushed this Dynasty Fantasy Football mailbag episode, Jay, where they're just taking questions, talking through strategies, players, all the hot topic fantasy football items. We got you covered. I appreciate the people in the building. Y'all know we're going to have some damn fun today. Who we got in the crew this morning? And yes, we were on time. You got to hit the like button for that alone. Not even on time. We were early today. So you don't y'all be talking about CP time. We got it, Royce. What's happening with you? GMGP to you, Royce Taylor. I hope you have a beautiful Monday, my friend. Robert, what's going down with you? GMGP. Adam Zaff, what's happening with you this morning? Patrick, let's get it. That's right, Patrick. How you feeling about your Saints right now, Pat? How you feeling about your Saints right now? How you feeling about your Saints? AJ, what's happening with you? GMGP to you. Fredo, I see you. James, I see you. Ricky, I see you. Blake in the building. Jimbo, let's get it. We're going to talk about them Niners too, man. I tried to tell you about Purdy. I'll tell you about Purdy a couple of years ago, and he got the bag. The bag, JRich. We got to talk about that. But how are you, my friend Richards? Where you at, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm better than a lot of the people around me right now, Ray, because those Leafs, they blew it again, man. Those Toronto Maple Leafs, right? I know you don't know nothing about the Leafs.
The what?
But they blew it, man. They blew it.
The Leafs?
They
what
blew
about
it.
those
Game
Stars,
7.
baby? What? Listen,
Yeah, Stars.
I've been a Stars fan for a long time, dude. So to
How
see
many years, Ray? How many years?
Trust me, man. I've been around for a while. So to see the success that our team,
yeah.
Dallas,
Yeah.
the sports programs in Dallas right now, it's just up. It's up in
Yeah.
Dallas, man. I don't know what to say. Everybody and everything overshadowing the Cowboys, but yeah, man, my Stars. I'm excited for what they can do here.
Think
as
they
we
can
approach
take
that-
down the oil?
Huh?
Think they can take down the oil?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take
Yeah,
down
I got
McDavid?
faith.
McDavid and the boys?
Listen, I got faith in my boys. I know that.
Who are your boys? Can we get your maybe your favorite, maybe one or two?
Favorite what?
Gotta hit Google. No love for Miko Rantanen and Ray? Come on, no love
Oh
for
yeah.
You gotta
Yeah.
know Miko at least. Miko's disgusting. He's like one of the best players in the playoffs right now.
Well, Jay,
Yeah,
hold on,
right.
man.
Leafs blew it, man. Leafs
Look,
blew it.
we're not here to talk about my fandom of the Stars and NHL. But yes, I know you're excited about the Stanley Cup, the impending Stanley Cup Finals here in a little bit. But the people are here to talk ball, JRich. We want to talk the association. We got to talk a little NFL. Got to talk about everybody's favorite court. We're going to have a conversation about San Francisco. I've got something to ask you that I did not talk to you pre-show, but I just want your thoughts around the Purdy contract. And if you're Kyle Shanahan, like, is that a good thing that you got to this point with a play? Let's just jump into it, okay? Let's talk Brock Purdy. That's what I want to talk about right now. I want to talk about Brock Purdy and the bag that he got, Jay. Can we start with just your thoughts when you saw the news? We had talked about it on this show for weeks. Then it was like it wasn't going to happen. Just initially, your thoughts when you saw the contract, Brock Purdy. What was it? $265 million, $56 million?
5 years, $265 million. And the first thought, of course, was it was a lot, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, we talked about $50 million. We talked about $60 million. Then it kind of fell back down to $50 million. And ultimately, it settled right at $53 million a year for Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy. He's a good quarterback. Do I think he's worth $50 million? Not necessarily. Do I think Trevor Lawrence is worth $55 million? Absolutely not. Do I think that Jared Goff is worth $53 million? Probably not.
But the market is the market, right?
$53 million, right?
The market is the market, right?
But it's weird how for years we were talking about the lower tier of quarterbacks, the $30 million a year quarterbacks, the $20 million a year quarterbacks, and now we have this weird tier, the rookie extension franchise-ish quarterbacks that's $50 to $55 million a year tier. But the problem is if you have a quarterback in that tier, do you really want him, Ray? Like, is your fan base really excited about that Trevor Lawrence, that Jordan Love, that Tua Tagovailoa, that Brock Purdy?
Well, I think that's another question. That's a fair question, but I don't think that's packaged inside of should he have been paid that, right? I think all of those guys are kind of Goff,
Kyler Murray, another
Tua,
guy in there too.
Purdy, Love. Trevor Lawrence, they all feel like trailers, not trucks, right? I always talk about truck versus trailer. Truck is the thing that's going to pull your team, your floor raising type quarterback. You could surround them with a bunch of Khalil Shakirs and Mac Hollinses, and you could damn near take your team to an AFC championship game. You take your team to a Super Bowl. You win NFL MVP with those surrounding. That is, Josh Allen is a truck. I look at Goff and Purdy and some of those, they're nicer trailers. There's levels to trailers, JRich. You got some raggedy ass trailers, and you got some beautiful ones that they tow and they hitch nicely. I feel like that's what we're talking about with this caliber quarterback. But as the chat says, what else do you do? I think so many times fans of teams and players, they get it twisted that the most important position on football, like, it grows on trees. And I've been a Cowboys fan for a long time, and I had to struggle through the Drew Henson, Chad Hutchinson, Quincy Carter, Vinny Testaverde days of trying to find a damn quarterback. So once you finally get one, I'm not hard-pressed to be like, send Dak Packens, send him on his way. And if you're San Francisco, again, with the way this team was built, the investments that they have on both the offensive and the defensive side of the ball, the age in which some of these players are that are getting some of these deals, what other option did they have? And if I'm a Niners fan, you've got to feel pretty good today that you've locked up your quarterback of the future long term. And I believe when you look at the nuance and the detail of the contract, it's actually kind of team friendly for San Francisco based on how good Brock's been over the time since he started at quarterback, since he took over at QB, Jay, since he's taken over at QB. Week 13, 2022, Brock Purdy is fourth in the NFL from that time period in QBR 70.2. Third in the NFL in passing yards, almost 10,000 passing yards since he took over week 13 in 2022. He is first in yards per attempt with 8.9 and seventh in touchdown passes with 64. So you're talking about every major statistical category. On the positive side, Purdy's top 10 in the NFL since he took over in 2022. He's only had, one real offseason of preparation and work without recovering from the elbow injury, and that was this past offseason. Yeah. I mean, what can you really say about the guy who was picked dead last in the NFL draft in 2022 to get to this point? You got to feel pretty good if you're the Niners, and you damn sure feel good if you're Purdy or his agent.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Purdy, of course, you feel great. But it's funny, the numbers you brought up, because those are the same numbers that you bring up with any San Francisco quarterback, regardless of who it is. When it was Jimmy Garoppolo, he was still up there in yards per attempt, up there in QBR, through touchdown passes, etc. Now, the yardage Purdy has far exceeded any San Francisco quarterback overall, but they're always up there in QBR. They're always up there in yards per attempt. It's the offense and kind of the way they play. But it is interesting because I think the NFL has a bit of a problem here. And it's not necessarily anyone's fault, but maybe it's the agents, maybe it's the GMs, but there has to be some sort of dissemination between elite quarterbacks and, let's say rookie extension, max type players, whatever you want to call them, right? Because there's no reason why Brock Purdy should be making the same amount of money per year as Josh Allen. Like, that just makes no sense. Why is Brock Purdy making $55 million a year and Josh Allen is also making $55 million a year, and they both signed their extensions in this offseason? And so that's where, if you're a fan, you say, okay, how should I feel about this? Should I feel okay because we have our franchise quarterback? Or should I feel like maybe there's a world where we overpaid for this player based off of the market of some of the other players in that range? So I'm curious how the NFL handles this, and I know with the new collective bargaining agreement, that may be a bit of a split that happens.
But that's always going to...
You have a lot of guys, like, between...
But the new deal is always going to supersede the old deal. Like,
But Ray, Josh Allen signed his contract this offseason. His new deal, his deal that was $330 million, $250 million guaranteed, was signed this offseason. So again, it's a few months after... It's 3 months before Brock Purdy signed his. So I'm with you, but there's this weird tier of quarterbacks where they're all being paid between $60 million, which is Dak at the top, and $50 million. And because we cover them every day, that there is a vast difference between all of these guys. Like, Brock Purdy's being paid like Jalen Hurts, like Lamar Jackson, like Justin Herbert. Now, these contracts were all signed in 2023, but those guys, some of them more deserving than others of new contracts, are still being paid around the same per average. If you're building a team, you want to have that elite guy because it still makes a difference because you're getting a better player.
I just don't know how we keep doing this. When I just told, since he took over as the starting quarterback, week 13 in 2022, fourth in QBR, third in yards, first in yards per attempt, and seventh in touchdowns. Like, how is he not? And he's taking his team to a Super Bowl. He's been in the play. Like, what are we doing? Like, we still are trying to excuse away the success that he's had in this offense. If anybody can do it, if they can just plop anybody into the Shanahan system, then it would have been done, right? It would have been done. You said Garoppolo did it. He was fine, but he wasn't like this. He wasn't this good.
Didn't he go to Super Bowl? Didn't he go to NFC Championship game?
I hear you.
And people think
Where's
he
sucks. At? Where's he at?
Well, he left the system, right? And this is always the debate.
He got removed.
Is Purdy a system quarterback, or is he a good quarterback? He's being paid now like a good quarterback.
Everyone's a system quarterback.
I know you always talk about that.
Everyone's a system quarterback.
But it's one of the better systems in the league, and I think we'd all admit that for quarterbacks. When it's run effectively, it's very good. But so
no trade clause in his deal too, JRich. Wild.
I know.
Wild.
This is where we're like, okay, man. So that's where, like, where would you peg him? Because you bring up the numbers, and that's fine. Would you put him ahead of Herbert, right? Would you put him ahead of Lawrence? Yes. You're not going to put him ahead of Hurts, probably.
No, not ahead of a Super Bowl champion quarterback. Absolutely not. But over Justin Herbert, yes.
I know you put him over Herbert.
Over Goff, sure. Why not? Over who else? Trevor Lawrence? Yes.
Lawrence, yeah. T-Law.
Unequivocally. Yes.
Sorry,
Jordan Love. Yes.
Jordan Love.
Yes.
Kyler Murray.
Yes.
And then you get way down the list to, like, again, I'd prefer Stafford, but Stafford's old, right?
How many QBs in the NFL would you prefer? Not your hopium wish that they turn into fantasy football superstars. How many QBs are you taking over them right now in the NFL?
I mean, I would take Allen. I would take Prescott.
Agreed.
I would take Burrow. I would take Lamar. I would take Hurts. Okay. And I think those are your first sure's. Okay, and then it gets into kind of what style of quarterback do you want? Do you want a Purdy? Do you prefer a Herbert?
No debate.
Of what he does offensively, right?
Debate
do you want a T-Law? Probably not. He's right in that range. He's definitely right in that range. So probably somewhere between 6 and 10, depending on how you rank the quarterbacks and what you value. But I'd say, depending on, it's really the one is.
What about
Dak,
Stroud?
Right?
Stroud or Purdy? Stroud or Purdy?
I forgot about Stroud because he's
It's a
having
good
a
one.
big contract.
Stroud or Purdy?
He's got to show me something, man. Give me Purdy.
Okay.
Stroud's had one good year, one bad year. Like, are we really?
Dak or Purdy? Dak or Purdy?
I am Team Dak. And I kind of have been for a long time. I like Dak a lot.
Yeah, JD5. Yeah, of course. Jaden
Daniels. Sorry, I was looking at paid quarterbacks, not not rookie
Jaden
guys.
Daniels. Yes.
Jaden Daniels for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Purdy in Jacksonville looks like what, though? Like, I get that. Listen, we can't – I'm just basing it on where they're at, right? Purdy on Jacksonville, Purdy on Cleveland, put Jamar Chase on Cleveland and not Cincinnati early. And, you know, do the numbers look the same? All I could do is judge what's on wax and what's on paper. And that's how they're getting paid. They're not paying Brock Purdy based on what he might be in Jacksonville. They're not paying him for what he could be on the Arizona Cardinals. They're paying him for what he's done in the system in which he operates. And I think we all, as professionals and as adults, would like to be judged on the merit of what we've done in our respective environments. Like, I could look at somebody's content and be like, this would never make ESPN. This isn't good enough to be here, but you're judged on where you're at in your station in life. And right now, what he's done with what's been presented in front of him, like, how could you knock him? Like, I don't get it, right? I don't get it. But my question to you, Jay, is they just paid Brock Purdy $250 million, right? That's what his contract is, $250 million. They gave up how many picks to get Trey Lance? 3 first-round picks? How on earth is this like a win for Shanahan and Lynch? You had to be saved by Mr. Irrelevant, the 257th pick or 256th pick in the NFL draft. You traded away years worth of assets and capital and flexibility, and you had to pay him, whether you think he's elite or not, $250 million. Like, how does Shanahan and Lynch continue to get these passes for what seems to be poor mismanagement just in team building? They gave Ayuk the money, then they don't want him. You got to pay. How is this a good thing for Lynch and Shanahan, and how do they keep getting damn passes? We keep talking about Purdy and Purdy and Purdy. If it wasn't for Purdy, they probably wouldn't be there. If it wasn't for him, they probably would not be there right now.
No, 100%. And that's the funniest part about it all, right? Is as long as you're winning games, you're going to be okay. You're not necessarily going to be good. You're not necessarily going to be on the hot seat, but you're going to be okay. And I remember last offseason, Ray, getting into a really heated debate with one of my best friends about the Falcons, right? Because he said the same thing that you just said. How does this team continue to get pumped up all off season when all they do is disappoint and mismanage the roster? They go pay Kirk Cousins $100 million over whatever it was, 2 years guaranteed, and they draft Michael Penix with the 8th overall pick. Seems like mismanagement. The thing I told them is that the problem is that when it's all said and done, if Michael Penix looks like the goods, the rest doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And that's what's going to cover up all wounds, is if the quarterback is good in this situation. And like Brock Purdy, you trade all those picks. Guess what? They still won a ton of games. They still had a great defense. They still went to NFC Championship games. They still went to Super Bowls. And it was because of Purdy. But all those other mistakes are completely forgiven because they're continuing to win games, irregardless of whether they are making the right moves or the wrong moves, as long as they get to where they need to be in the end.
It's a fascinating dynamic, man. I think if it were any other head coach, GM making the decisions that San Francisco has made, especially at that position, the most important position, they probably wouldn't have survived. But good for Purdy. No trade clause in his deal. $181 million guaranteed. You know there's going to be a movie made about him, right? Like you already know that probably Disney or Sony already has the rights to this. But now the pressure is on Purdy. Like, now you're paid as one of the league's elite quarterbacks, right? You are a very shiny trailer, a very nice one. You ride smooth and you tow well.
In guarantees.
What'd you say?
8th highest in guarantees.
Of quarterbacks or of all positions?
Well, this is just a quarterback list.
But yeah, I mean,
I think it still would be the highest among non-QBs.
Does he live up to this deal? Does Brock Purdy ultimately live up to this contract, Jay?
That's the question, right? Because we've already seen some of the hits this team has taken in order to make this move, right? Before it was, well, they have a great team and they have Purdy on this rookie deal. Now it's transforming this team to still be great, still be talented, still be the stalwart that it has been for the past few years while still paying a quarterback all of this money. So that's where this gets so much more interesting from a team building perspective, is that they've always went cheap quarterback. That way they could pay their receivers, pay their defense, pay everybody they need to pay. But now they are paying Brock Purdy. And how do they build a team around Brock Purdy? Because we've seen Josh Allen struggle at times. We've seen Patrick Mahomes struggle at times. We've seen, obviously, Trevor Lawrence struggle. We've seen Jordan Love struggle. We've seen plenty of quarterbacks struggle after being paid because you can't afford to pay all those other positions. So we're going to see what happens with this team, but they got to go, like DP said it. You got to go.
I agree with DP. That he said
your
got to
best
go win
shot
one now.
is this year. Your best shot is this year right now.
I don't think he's already gone to a Super Bowl, right? Was this close to winning one. It was this close to winning one. I don't think a playoff run is good enough. Getting them to winning the NFC West, sure, whatever. That ain't the goalpost, Jay. You bring in Salah, you go add these weapons defensively. They smashed the NFL draft, I believe. You pay him $181 million guarantee. I think the only thing that will sort of like make this thing pay off or feel like it was a win is a Super Bowl. And their window, the NFC
Where would you
is
rank
no
them
joke.
right now in the NFC?
The NFC is no joke.
Would they be in the top 5?
I think they're in the top 5. If we look at the NFC right now, Philly, no doubt. Philly is inside the top 5 teams in the NFC. The Detroit Lions,
probably number 1.
Top 5 team in the. I'm just. They're in the top 5. Detroit,
for sure.
Philadelphia, the Rams,
Washington, Minnesota, and then you get into the Rams, who I think. Who would you take? Because I feel like maybe even you as well. Like I feel like we both really like where the Rams are headed. Whether they actually get there is another conversation, but the Niners are going to be very good this year. And for people who didn't watch the schedule release show and even the show we did after that, like the Niners schedule was a joke. Like they should win at least 12 games this year if they have a healthy team.
They got a good schedule.
At least 12 games this year.
They got a good schedule.
But the Rams have a very similar schedule, right? So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But yeah, the NFC, I'd say they're top 5 or close to it, but probably right there with the Rams. I'd probably give the Vikings the edge, I think. I like the Vikings a lot. They're going to be a good team this year.
Okay. But we've got to talk about this, man, because
the Bucks. Ray, your team.
Tampa Bay. Bayou says Niners not top 5.
Well, someone did bring up the Bucks. We did overlook the Bucks.
Are we a little bit out over our skis on Minnesota? I love Kevin O'Connell. The team is great.
You are though.
You've got a rookie quarterback. Are we a little out over our skis on at least the early success? Like I think a lot of people think Minnesota just hits the ground running, and they might. They very well might. But probably it's going to take JJ a little bit of time to get his NFL sea legs under him, and I think that's fair. Like I don't want to put the expectation that McCarthy has to start out 300 yards a damn game in order for that team to be good or for people to feel like this was a good move to take the ball out of Sam Darnold's hands and give it to J.J. McCarthy. But maybe a little too bullish on their outlook out the gate, even though the team is great, Jay. But I want to talk about a player who has dominated the topic of conversation pretty much for the past 12 months since the start of the college football season, throughout the draft process, and early on through this rookie mini camp. OTAs began, I believe, this week, JRich? OTAs are about to kick off. Yeah, today. I want to talk about Travis Hunter. And there are clips circulating amongst social media, and I will call it panic. I will call it uncertainty. I will call it expectations that were set very, very high at the very start of this process. And now there are a lot of people worried about old Travis Hunter's ability to run NFL routes. And This is NFL Rookie Watch, so a big aggregator account. But when this account posts something, you get massive amounts of engagement, right? So you get to see a lot of people talking about uh, Hunter and his ability to run routes. He's catching with his body. He's stumbling all over the place. You see, I didn't like this post, JRich. I just saw this post, right? But there are a lot of people over the past 48 hours that I've seen just, this dude ain't it. I'm concerned. He's not a good route runner. But where's all those charts that had green lights all over why is he not looking like this? Right? These are mini camp clips of Hunter running routes. What are your thoughts on people now? Literally, he's been the generational one for 8 months, and now after a few clips come out, there is a lot of concern over how good Hunter is at receiver, can be at receiver. What are your thoughts when you read this, and see the conversation around this number 2 overall pick?
I think it's pretty ridiculous overall, but I understand it, right? For people who just see the clips and they're like, oh man, like that doesn't look as fluid as I'd like for the second overall pick. And that doesn't look as nice as it could look when you're watching Ted McMillan, or again, a player who's been playing wide receiver probably from the time he was like 10 years old. Yeah, like no kidding. And that's where I think people need to understand that, like, this dude is a cornerback. And again, I don't know exactly how long he's played wide receiver, but I don't think it's necessarily before high school or much before that, right? And for a dude who's primarily trained as a cornerback, who wanted to work with Deion because Deion was going to set him up for success and all this stuff, but also probably to help refine him as a defensive back. Like, this is a player who's trying to change positions from college to the NFL. And most importantly, if you actually watch his tape playing receiver, like, I don't care if he runs crisp routes because he can get open and he can win. Ultimately, your job in the NFL at receiver is to beat the man in front of you or to sit in the zone in the right spot. It's not to run the nicest looking route. That's why Hunter Renfrow was basically dropped out of the league, because he can run great routes. But if he can't get open with enough success, he's not going to be playing in the league. So that's where people just kind of get confused. You have to be good at running routes, sure. But more importantly, you have to be able to get open. And I trust Travis Hunter to get open when the time comes against NFL players. So it's all about understanding who the player that you're drafting is and how you're going to deploy them. Because if a team doesn't know how to do that, then he's not going to be successful, and neither are they. But the fact that they paid all that draft capital to get him tells you that they have a plan for him. We're going to see how it's going to play out when the games actually are played. But for now, I'm not worried about whether he's stumbling on a route or he's not running it as crisp as you would like, because no, he's not CeeDee Lamb. No, he's not Jamar Chase. No, he's not Justin Jefferson. He's Travis Hunter, and he's learning how to play receiver full-time for the first time. And let's give him a little bit of grace with that.
What a great take, Jay, and I'm with you. There's this misconception of, yes, some people have an ability to decelerate real quick and start up real quick. I mean, and it looks crispy, it looks sharp. But ultimately, like, that's not how the game is played, and you're going to have to win with leverage, body positioning, control, and more importantly, when you're running routes against air versus somebody, like, you've got to be able to counter what's presented in front of you. And those are things that you can't see on any practice tape, right? And the quick decelerator, accelerator, the sharp, that's always going to just look better. Aesthetically, it's just going to look better. But I'm with you. Your ability to get open is what I'm looking for. And Travis Hunter's ability on crossing routes, on out routes, on the go ball, in places in which the ball is in the air, and his ability to track the ball, I've seen nothing to say that he can't succeed. But these are the type of things that float and permeate that change your people's perception of the player, right? I mean, literally last week we're talking about goddamn Jimmy Horn being a starting receiver for Carolina. Like, and maybe that happens down the line, but I can almost guarantee you out the gate he ain't on 3 wide receiver sets, right? As crisp as those routes look in minicamp, he's probably got an uphill battle to be on the field week 1 as a starting receiver. It's just I sit back sometimes and I don't tweet that much anymore, man. I say what I need to say. I engage the way I need to engage, and I get up out of there. But it's just funny how quickly narratives and opinions and thoughts and rumors and perceptions get tossed out there and consumed. And then I'm reading comments. Oh man, uh, we knew he wasn't generational. I tried to tell you this. It's just interesting how what gets planted and how those seeds grow in the minds of people who play fantasy football or fans of the team, fans of the game. You just got to be mindful of the content you consume, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's what I think we're going to see this week. Hopefully we see a little bit of one-on-one.
And I'm not ripping Jimmy Horn. I like Jimmy Horn. Just this is not Jimmy Horn slander here. I like Jimmy Horn.
Well, Ray, just wait, because this is the week, right? And I believe it's actually today or tomorrow. Yeah, it is today. So today OTAs open up. So we're probably going to see him do some defensive back work, because they said at rookie minicamp he wasn't going to do any DB stuff, just straight wide receiver stuff. And this is the week they're going to start installing him with some defensive back stuff. So we'll see him play some defense where, again, I'm sure people will be very critical. Oh, he doesn't look that good. He's getting burnt, whatever. But again, it's a long offseason, long process, and I'm sure that Travis Hunter will be just fine. But
it's moving quick, dude. We're already into June. Like, before you know it, just enjoy this little, I don't want to call it a break period that we have, but enjoy this moment, because really soon, I mean, we got a couple of more weeks in May. We're into June, and then boom, it's training camp season. Then before you know it, it's preseason. Then we're right back into it week one. Like, the off season is over. We talked about OTAs, and we'll talk about some of those teams and some players here after the break. But enjoy this small window and this small, like, lull. Don't get sucked into the NFL Rookie Watch account narratives that are flowing out there. And no, I'm with you. Like, he didn't win every route in college. He didn't. He did not. Like, he did not. They didn't ask him to do very much because Colorado was so limited offensively. I'll give you $100 if you can name a running back that they had. Do you even know one? Could you name one running back without looking? Can you even name one?
There's one.
They had no running game. They had no running game. JRich. They Augustus. They had McCaskill, and they had Obendorf, some white running back, number 44. But they had no rushing attack. The offensive line was putrid. They had to get the ball out quick. So, no, his route inventory and, as DP said, his salesmanship of the routes, probably not as refined as some other receivers in this class that have played receiver full-time. But I'm not panic tripping or worried about Travis Hunter at all. Every single Thursday, JRich and I are on Bleacher Report at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be on this week for NFL Daily. Make sure you check JRich and I out on BR. There is a playlist on the Wake Up channel, on this channel right here. There's a playlist with all of our BR content. We're going to go to break, run the likes up, and when we come back, we got some more football stuff we're going to talk about. Maybe a little Civil War too, Jay. We got to talk a little Civil War. I know the people are ready for that. Right after the break, let's go. Welcome in, everybody, for another stream over here on Bleacher Report, NFL Daily. You can find JRich and I every single week here on this app.
The moment I say it, they'll say, oh, yuck. And it's got to be Najee Harris, right?
That world is in an alternate timeline somewhere in the multiverse. It ain't here on Earth 616 or whatever. It ain't here. JRich and I are on every single Thursday, 7 p.m. Appreciate y'all. Smash that like button. This is Wake Up with Ray and Jay every Monday, Wednesday, Friday here on the channel. Bleacher Report on Thursdays, NFL Daily. We are blessed to have an opportunity to contribute over there, so make sure you check out our content over on Bleacher Report. We are live every single Thursday. Playlist in the description. JRich, let's pivot real quick because we do have a Final Four. We got a Final Four first. We know there's a lot of NBA fans in there. Final Four in the NBA. Knicks Pacers. Are you excited for this one? I'm kind of excited, Jay. This is nostalgia. This is Reggie Miller. It's Patrick Ewing. It's old school basketball. And I'm excited about this team. There's a lot of good storylines in this matchup. I'm a big fan of the WWE. Those two players right here, Tyrese Halliburton and Jalen Brunson, have spent some time in the squared circle. The ring out there, WWE is very much real. I believe in it. Are you ready for this matchup between the Knicks and the Pacers? And then we also have who should be named this week as the most valuable player, SGA, the Thunder, and the Timberwolves. Ant-Man versus your Canadian brother, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Are you excited about the NBA Final Four, baby?
A little bit. I'd say a little bit. I might actually watch the Knicks and Pacers series. I do think that Minnesota's going to get slapped, though. I really do.
You think so?
Yeah. I think Minnesota's in trouble. What we saw from OKC in that Game 7, I think set the stage for what could be a beatdown against Minnesota, because I just think they match up really well against them. So
Rick
we're going to
Smits,
see.
Oh man, going old school.
I'm going to say,
Ricky.
you're going so old. I probably wasn't even born when this shit was going down, or
You gotta remember Rick Smits, man. Big white center, man. You gotta remember old Rick Smits. Come on.
But the Eastern Conference games will be interesting because you have the Pacers, which play at the fastest pace in the NBA, versus the Knicks, who've played really, really slow this postseason. So it'll be interesting to see how those two teams match up. I'm sure the Pacers will try to run them out of the building, but that'll be exciting. Two very talented point guards going toe-to-toe should be very, very exciting. But I'm pumped for it. I think the East will be a lot better than the West. But we'll see, man. Maybe Anthony Edwards can get it done. I know there's a lot of Anthony Edwards stands, and I've been saying that he's been overrated for ages, but OKC in 5, baby. OKC in 5.
OKC in 5. All right, Jay. Civil War started early in the Association of Women. Started already. It has dominated a lot of sports talk. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese back at it. JRich, they are back at it. Clark triple-double. I mean,
40-point blowout.
Yeah, it just they just dominated the Chicago Sky. Clark is incredible. I know I spoke blasphemy last show, said she was the best player in the WNBA, and DP had to remind me Asia Wilson still exists. And Asia Wilson, I think she dropped like 30 in her opening night game. She is the best women's basketball player in the world. But Caitlin Clark is on her way. Just your thoughts on these two. Should we even be talking about them in the same sentence and conversation? Because if it were up to me, like Clark's on a whole nother level. As a player, they're not comparable. They're not in the same stratosphere. Clark is way over here. Angel Reese is a fine player, but Caitlin Clark is a special talent that we haven't seen come in the WNBA in a long time, dude.
Yeah, I don't watch WNBA, don't pretend to, but as someone who just can't really avoid it because of how big this feud has been from their time in college, it's pretty hilarious to see.
Come on, Phil.
Because,
honestly, come on.
Phil says Andre Drummond.
He says
versus
Andre
Steph
Drummond
Curry. Versus
Steph Curry.
But I get it.
That's harsh.
I get it though.
That's
it's
harsh.
Not harsh
Damn.
though. But Ray, it's not harsh. It's really not. Like you just said it. They're not in the same conversation. They're not in the same stratosphere. Like Angel Reese is so jealous of Caitlin Clark. It's actually insane. It's actually insane. To flop on the court when it was just simply a hard foul. Anyone who actually watches basketball knows exactly what Caitlin Clark did.
Yeah.
Earn it at the free throw line. It's very, very simple. And she's trying to pull off her jersey to fight Caitlin Clark. You're not going to fight her. This isn't going to happen. This is going to be a thing. And it's just how is she so in your head that you just can't escape it at all? The moment they get on the court, it's like she needs to go to war with Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin Clark is just running around her, passing the ball, doing her thing, completely unbothered. And then, I don't know if you saw in the post-game presser where Caitlin Clark's like, don't worry, to her teammate who got a tech, she said, don't worry, I got your fine. That's how lit Caitlin Clark is. She's just like, nah, don't worry about it. Not the owner, not the management paying the fine. She's like,
I know.
Don't worry, you're backing me up. I got your fine because I'm caked up like that. That was crazy talk. But yeah, Angel and, and Miss Clark are not in the same conversation.
Howie Arberis said dye the hair green and she'd be Rodman. Dennis Rodman. She'd be the equivalent of. Listen, all I want to say is this. Clark is fun. I don't care what you think about the WNBA. Watching her, she's doing NBA shit, man. I mean, she's 1-2 step back, well beyond the three-point line, and just it ain't luck. It's nothing but net. It's swishes. She's diamond. She's rebounding. She's a future MVP at some point in time. She should win multiple championships. You look at the stands, it's packed. You can't buy a ticket to see them play. They're expensive. She's prime time. and we're talking about the WNBA. Like we're talking about this league, and it's only getting better. The talent from the female basketball players only getting better. And when you got special ones like Clark, it's fun to watch. But yeah, I don't really think there's a rivalry. Maybe inside of Angel's head and Caitlin's as well to a degree. Like I'm sick of playing her, and I just every time I see her, I want to dominate. But they're not on the same planet. They're not on the same planet.
Yeah,
as players, skill set wise,
the media is
completely
making it
different
a thing,
games, man.
Because they've always been, there's been this quote unquote rivalry, but it ain't been much of a rivalry since Angel left LSU, right?
Yeah. Shout out to Stanley. I saw a comment on Twitter the other day that said a lot of content creators are ignoring those super chats, JRich. I got to make sure that we don't do that. I don't want to do that on this show. So shout out to my dog Stanley. Yes, the show started on time. He gives us a muscle emoji. Appreciate you, Stanley. I hope you have a fantastic week, my friend. But, Jay, we do have OTAs kicking off today, correct? We got some OTAs. Some teams are getting on the field. Real football is getting close to back. And I want to talk about the Dallas Cowboys and the offense of George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, and Dak Prescott. Did you see what they said? They were at a baseball, celebrity, softball,
Kyler
baseball
Murray's baseball thing.
Talking about those two, 1A, 1B. And what was the quote, JRich? What was the quote?
So CeeDee Lamb was asked about the offense, right? They were both at this event that Kyler Murray was hosting. I believe it was in Arizona. And he was asked about George Pickens. And his response was, we are both ones. It ain't no A, B, none of that. It's one. You look over there, you see one. You look over here, you see another one. You do what you got to do with that. And honestly, for us who are expecting this offense to be hopefully much improved at that wide receiver 2 spot, this is exactly what you want to hear. This means that, at least as far as CD is telling us, they're going to operate as co-alphas depending on what the defense is giving them and the game plan as a whole, which means George Pickens should see a plenty of opportunities overall. And honestly, I'm not even concerned about CD because CD's going to get his no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
But it does mean that there's a very good chance that we see potentially a very high ceiling for George Pickens as well alongside CeeDee Lamb. So again, it's not even coach speak, it's player speak, which is even worse than coach speak probably, because I wouldn't expect CeeDee Lamb to say anything bad about George Pickens.
Right.
But hopefully this week we see how they're deployed a little bit. We see how the offense is operating, and we just get more information. And the reason why people need to know this stuff is because it's good information to take in now, because it may help you make a decision down the line to follow the trend of how things start in OTAs as we get through into mandatory minicamp and ultimately into training camp, because that stuff will show itself on the field. So this is exactly what you want to hear. And it may open more to George Pickens being that quote unquote X outside receiver, primarily offensively, and allowing CeeDee Lamb to operate a bit more inside on the offense.
You want some early projections and some early receiving yard lines for some of these players? Okay. CeeDee Lamb, over under 1,150.5 receiving yards for the 2025 season. 1,150.5 for CeeDee Lamb. The only players that I'm seeing on this board higher than CeeDee Lamb. You want the ones that are higher than Lamb right now? Justin Jefferson. Jamar Chase. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Those are the only two players currently who have a higher projected total right now than CeeDee Lamb. 1,225.5 for Jefferson, 1,299.5 yards for Jamar Chase, 1,150.5 for CeeDee Lamb. That's tied with Malik Neighbors, 1,150.5 as well.
Okay.
Then we have George Pickens. JRich, you want to take a guess at where Pickens' line is set at?
I would probably say 950.
924.5 for George Pickens. Some notable names that he is ahead of. Let me just give you some names that George Pickens has more projected. At least their line is set higher right now at this point in the offseason. More than Marvin Harrison. More than Cortland Sutton.
More than Marvin Harrison.
More than Jalen Waddle. Yeah. More than right in line, 1 yard lower than Garrett Wilson. Higher than Stephon Diggs. A little bit lower than JSN. So he's right in that range. I mean, it's Ladd McConkey, it's Garrett Wilson, higher than Devontae Smith by a whole 100 yards, higher than Smitty, higher than J-Mo. Drake London, 1050 for Drake London. Right around Devontae Adams' line. Same line as Mike Evans for George Pickens. What do you think about those two lines? Pickens at 924.5, CeeDee at 1150.5 for the season.
I think it's pretty appropriate, right? People who, oh, that's too low. It's too low. Like, it's May, man. Like, those lines are going to go up as we get closer and closer to this season because right now they are health bets as well. But the big thing here is that that's a line that you see, like you said, of a Mike Evans, of a Ladd McConkey. And these are guys that are pegged as top 24 wide receivers. And it's kind of the argument we made from the very beginning with George Pickens is that the volume could actually be there this year. It's not just, sure, he can have 900 yards. Like, yeah, of course he can have 900 yards. He did that in Pittsburgh. But now he should do it with the volume and the potential for the volume, which obviously presents itself much higher upside overall. So that's where I'm very excited for Pickens. I think he could be a top 24 wide receiver. I think he'd be a guy that gets well over 1,000 yards on the season. I think Dak's going to air the ball out like crazy this season. Very, very excited for what Pickens could be. And this is where people need to look at this stuff more because, I did like a full analysis of this like 2 years ago. And you can find like really undervalued players that are going to perform this season, or at least that project well. And you can find some value points there. And depending on how people view George Pickens, this is telling you that he's probably going to be pretty good. And you should probably bank on him being pretty good for fantasy as well. So I think it's all in line with what we were saying kind of when he first signed here or first got traded here. And now it's just showing up in the book lines as well.
These are some interesting lines. And Garrison said, really? Only 3 players, only over 1,200 yards? No, Garrison, 2 players, Jefferson and Chase. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. This is where Jefferson's line opens up. It's going to open at 1,250 and it's going to close at 1,400.
It's going to close.
It always does.
I think I got it at 13 something last year, and that was CeeDee Lamb too, and that didn't work. Here's some interesting. Want to go through a couple of these real quick, Jay? Since I'm here, want me to give you a few?
Let's give
you a few lines.
Let's just go some over-unders.
Tell me what you like here from this pairing in Los Angeles, and I do want to talk about. I got a picture with the Rams, but we could talk about this. Devontae Adams. 949.5 yards. Puka Nacua, 1199.5. So right at 1,200 for Puka. Well, no, right at 1,200 for Puka and right at 950 for Devontae Adams.
I think that's pretty appropriate. I probably wouldn't go much higher than that for Adams, right? Like it's an over, but it's May, so it's close, right? If that number was 1,100, how would you feel about it? Because I'd probably bet 1,100
for Adams.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to touch that. I mean,
1050, 1,100.
Let me give you some more teammates. Closer, right? This one is surprising to me. Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Tampa Bay. Okay. Mike Evans, 924.5 receiving yards. Chris Godwin, 975.5 yards for Godwin.
Yeah.
Higher than that of Mike Evans, coming off of an injury. Higher than Mike Evans, and then Emeka Egbuka, 574.5.
That's a good indicator for Egbuka, right? If Egbuka could get 600 yards, 700 yards this season, that would be really good for him. But yeah, I mean, Ray, you look to last season. I remember when I was looking at it for Mike Evans last season. I believe it was right around that 900, 925. Now Godwin was below him last season, but based off the success that Godwin had in this offense, it makes sense why they project him a little bit higher. Maybe you view Mike Evans as a bit of a value in that sense, but I mean, Ray, let's be honest. Mike Evans has been like towing the line with that 1,000 yards the past couple seasons, not just last season, but the past few seasons. He's been barely getting there. Like, I know everyone was excited last year, and I'm pretty sure I called it Bush League, but they had to manufacture that 1K for Mike Evans at the last second last year.
The last second,
right? Now, again, that's still well north of 925, or maybe not well north, but it's north of 925. So we can't forget that. And you brought it up last show, like he gets injured and he misses time. So it's not going to be as clear cut as you think. But yeah, those are very interesting lines. And maybe you do want to take a shot on Egbuka because both those guys will miss a bit of time. 625, Jimbo, he said.
Another interesting one that it's not looking good for old GQ in some of these bets I have, JRich. Not looking good for me. Chicago. Let's talk about those Bears. DJ Moore, one of the few receivers that have a projected line over 1,000 yards. He's one of a few. There aren't many. It's DJ Moore, got A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra, Nico, BTJ, Malik. His line is set with the elite receivers. So DJ Moore, 1025.5. Nothing for Rome Odunze. 649.5 yards for Colston Loveland, who would put him
For
the
Colston
third.
Loveland.
This is the third highest yardage total for a rookie pass catcher, Colston Loveland.
I don't know about that.
Third
one, Ray.
highest.
It's probably a stay away from me, but man, that's a lot.
Fourth highest. I lied. Matthew Golden is higher.
Yeah, we don't like Matthew Golden though. So
I like Matthew.
So
You don't
Sam
like Matthew
Laporta
Golden.
in
I
his
like
rookie
Matthew Golden.
season.
649.5.
120. 889 in his rookie
125 yards more than Tyler Warren's 524.5.
Would you rather bet on Loveland's yards or touchdowns? Do you have a touchdown number for him? I think I'd rather.
They probably
bet
don't
on
have a
touchdowns.
TD number. They probably don't have a 4.5 TDs for Loveland.
Give me
4.5.
that. I would much prefer Loveland's 4.5 TDs, right? Because I just have to look to Laporta, right? Laporta well cleared that number in his rookie season. He had 120 targets, 86 receptions, 889 yardage, but 10 touchdowns, and then still had 7 touchdowns last season as well. So I think you look to Loveland and you say, how many yards is he going to get? I don't really know. 625, decent number, but he'll probably get the touchdowns because he'll get opportunities in the red zone.
Back to the Rams. Puka Nacua.
Okay.
Was he 11.99?
You said
11.99
I think.
Devontae Adams 9.49. Adams 8.5 TDs. Puka Nacua 5.5. That's the line. 8.5 for Adams, 5.5 for Puka Nacua.
But that's the offense.
That's the role, right? This is what we talked about when Adams first signed. It was, yes, it's great for Puka, it's great for Stafford, but the concern is, what if Adams gets too many touchdowns, right? And it's not that he's not going to score touchdowns. Of course he will, but Puka's never been a touchdown guy. He is that between the 20s type of player. 6 touchdowns in his rookie season when he had 1,500 yards, only 3 last season when he had almost 1,000 yards. Now, again, he only played in 11 games versus 17, but still, only 9 touchdowns in his career, and we know that Adams can definitely score double digits if he's healthy and playing with Matt Stafford. Stanley dropped another super chat. He said, how about Garrett Wilson? Garrett Wilson touchdowns, 4.5 for Garrett Wilson. TDs. Receiving yards for Garrett Wilson, JRich, I believe was...
Has to be 1,000.
No, it was sub 1,000. I'm pulling it up now. 4.5 touchdowns for Garrett Wilson. I think it was like 949.5. I'm pulling it up right now for G-Dub. You said it had to be 1,000?
I mean, he's been between 1,100 and 1,050.
125 yards. 925 for Garrett Wilson.
They ain't liking that Justin Fields, right?
The reason I like doing this, honestly, man, is it provides a little bit of... Vegas ain't 100%, right? They're not 100% right, but there are much sharper, sophisticated tools to go in to set these lines. A lot of this earlier health bets, but it helps me manage the expectation, right? It really,
yes,
it helps me kind of keep my hopium and the beans in check, that I'm not like, oh my God, everybody's going to go out here and get 1,500 yards, because it just doesn't happen. Like it doesn't happen. DJ Moore hit his prop. I think it was like 999.5. The last play of the game, the last game of the season, he went over. Like last play, last game. When you see these numbers and lines, you're like, damn, 700 yards, 4 touchdowns. Like, you need a lot, right? You need a lot. I'm looking for anything else that stands out to me.
Do you got Jeanty lines?
Jeanty lines.
We probably got.
I do have Jeanty lines.
Okay, talk to you about Jeanty, because Jeanty's lines have got to be like.
Well, let's go
with rushing yards?
Let's go with number 1. The bet I would never take. Pass. Saquon Barkley, 1,475.5 yards for Saquon.
Nah.
I can't touch 1,500 yards, dude.
It's not as.
That's how good he is, but I can't touch 1,500 yards, Jay. I can't touch
What's
1500.
Henry though? Is
Henry?
Is he over 1400?
1349.5 for Derrick Henry.
That's decent. That's not bad for Henry. I could work with that.
Who else do you want?
No.
You want Jeanty now, or do you want?
I need Jeanty.
Well, JT is up next in the pecking order. Third highest total, Jonathan Taylor, 1,200 on the button.
Fair. That's fair. I mean, he was ridiculous last 5 weeks.
Bijan Robinson, 1199.5. This feels pretty low.
For Bijan? 1199?
I mean,
no.
11, yeah, 1,200 yards for Bijan? 1,200 yards for
Rushing
Bijan?
yards?
Rushing yards.
Rushing
that
yards?
feels low.
I wouldn't say that's low at all.
Okay.
Not
Ashton
low.
Jeanty's up next. Ashton Jeanty, fifth highest projected line, 1074.5 for Ashton Jeanty.
It's a little high.
You think that's
It's fair.
high for Jeanty?
A little high. It's fair, but it's a little high. I mean, you're not going to project a rookie in May for
1,000 yards
rushing yards.
Absolutely.
I think it's got to be. I think it's got to be more than 1,000.
Will. Yes, I will project a rookie
but it's
for 1,000 yards.
1175. It's not 1,000. It's way over 1,000.
1,075. Okay. 1,000 in a game. Yeah, I'm projecting Jeanty for that. If we just said it last week that we thought he'd get 330 touches. If he's going to get the ball 330 times, I'm going to assume 270 of those are rush attempts.
Yeah. He'll get the rock a lot.
I think that's fair for Jeanty. Last one, Jahmyr Gibbs is after him. Gibbs and Jacobs both behind Jeanty. The next 1,000-yard rushing line, and it's a tie here, between Kyren Williams and Bucky Irving, 1024.5.
Bucky Irving?
Bucky Irving, 1024.5.
Right, I don't know how I feel about that Bucky Irving for 1024.5. I like Bucky Irving. I don't know if I want to bet him for that. I'd rather bet Kyren, right? Because I think Kyren's going to get the work. Where are you at on Bucky? Do you think it's too high? Do you think it's too low? Would you even come close to betting it? I mean, Kyren the past two seasons, 1144, 1299.
Man, Luke said under. Every year. Luke said under Bijan, under JT. I'm reading the chat right now. Jeanty 1,100 because 8 in the box. I don't think they'll be able to 8 in the box, the Raiders. Not with Geno. Not with Bowers.
They can. They may pay for it, right? Like
you're saying they might load the box up and just get ripped by Geno?
Yeah, if I was an NFL defense, I would probably say Geno beat me over Jeanty beat me because I know that Jeanty can beat me. Like if you're just planning a defense, who would you game plan for? Would you plan for Jeanty? Would you plan for Geno? And I would probably plan for Jeanty.
Yeah, but
it's a lot of respect.
But a running back not unless you're Saquon, the RB or Henry, like the RB's not beating you. You still plan for the passing attack, dude. You still
you're still planning for the passing attack.
And it's this idea that Geno is just like some random podunk quarterback. I think he's pretty damn good.
But you're gonna emphasize Bowers,
and you've got
right?
the best tight end in football.
You're gonna probably try and bracket Bowers, and then you got Jacoby, and then you got whatever else you got outside. Like the thing is that'd be interesting is that I'm sure certain teams who can cover Bowers will have a lot of success against the Raiders, but if they can't, that's when you're in big trouble, right?
Who can cover Bowers?
I'm not saying a lot of guys can, but
interesting lines. I love looking at these. I'm gonna just throw a couple other names out there. Teteron McMillan, the number one rookie, 800 yards, 799.5 for McMillan. You've got BTJ, 1150. Travis Hunter, 750. Do with that what you will. 11. This ain't like 200 yards, but 1150 and 750. Amon-Ra and J-Mo, they're 200 yards apart. Adams and Puka, 200 yards apart. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, a lot of yards apart, but that's Jamar Chase. But still, within range, it ain't this far apart. It's not 750 and 1150 as far as the difference between those guys. This is the last one. Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride, exactly the same, 899.5.
But Ray, how concerning is that? How concerning is that to you? Because last season,
it's pretty fucking concerning.
Jr.'s rookie line was 1050.
His rookie line was stupid. It was 1050. Yeah.
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 And now he's down at
They're the same as
850.
McBride.
Ray, would you rather Marvin Harrison Jr. or George Pickens this season?
I would.
It's
I'd rather
tough
have
to not take Pickens. Just on, let's just say yardage.
I would take GP over Marv. I think I would take George Pickens for the 2025 season in yardage over Marv. Touchdowns, Marv had a bunch of them, I believe. Didn't Marv score quite a few touchdowns?
I think he had 7.
Yeah, he had a nice
7.
I mean, the TDs are there because yardage-wise, I would probably take Pickens over Marv this year, Jay.
This is 8. Wow.
Yeah, he had a bunch of touchdowns. This is
8.
You've got no tight end. There's Njoku, Judy, 300 yards apart. Andrews, Zay Flowers, 900 to 624. There are no, even DJ Moore to close. There are no tight end receivers that close. They're the same line, 899.5. Like, is that not a little concerning for Marv?
Well, it should be concerning for Kyler too. Your top 2 pass catchers and what we view as a fairly potent offense to some extent are at 850, right? Like it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but that's not what you want to see from a quarterback that people think will throw for quite a bit of yards this season.
And then MV Prof he hit what you just said. He said Dak over Kyler by a mile.
But this is where like people forget, Ray. Like we've been here for years, and when Dak gets in that groove and that offense gets going, it's 350 a game, 3 touchdowns, and Dak is slinging the hell out of that pill. Like it's where I feel bad for Cowboys fans to some extent because Dak has such high highs that it makes the lows feel so bad when he's not playing well. But when he's on, he's playing well, and he has players to throw the ball to, like he can perform as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. He really can.
Lad McConkey, 999 for Lad McConkey. Hit the music, Jay.
You know Lad's hitting that. You know Lad's got that.
Amon-Ra, 1050. Low line for Amon-Ra.
Every year, yeah. Every year he gets a low line.
Gets a low line every single year.
Yeah.
Where is receptions at? We don't have receptions. At 1050 for Amon-Ra is
it's good.
It's a good
3
line.
straight years he's done that.
It's a good line. That's 624 for Mark Andrews. I don't. All right, Jay. I'm hitting the chat one time before we get out of here. A lot of Dak Pickens over Kyler and Marv. Trust the process. I trust Dak more. Neighbors. Tim, Neighbors was 1050 and a half. 1150 and a half, excuse me. 1150 and a half for Neighbors. So one of the higher lines for the wide receiver position. And AJ says Jerry Jeudy, 949 and a half. Jerry Jeudy. 949. And Kevin said Ladarius Antoine McConkey over. Just combine all the black-white names together and you get Ladarius Antoine McConkey. Appreciate you, Kev. Appreciate everybody in the chat this Monday, man. Make today great. Go out there, be productive, go move something, go to the gym, take a walk. Be kind to somebody today, all right? We got a lot of week left to be negative. Let's start off the week with positivity. Hit the thumbs up button. Like the stream, like the content, subscribe to the channel. If you're always watching and you don't subscribe, just do that. Like it takes you like 5 seconds to do. And then check out the content on our fantasy football channel, DDFFB. JRich, anything you want to say to people before we get out of here?
No, thank everybody for tuning in. Everyone who is in Canada, have a happy Victoria Day. You are off today, so enjoy that. Yeah, shout out to
Victoria Day.
Yeah, it was a good day, But like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday.
See y'all on Wednesday. We out. Peace.